Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla. I'm working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is Human Resource Management. This is our 7th lecture of HRM and we were already studying Unit 2. This is the last lecture for Unit 2. The topics that will be covered today are selection, interview, meaning, role of interview, types of interview, placement and its significance, induction and its objectives, right sizing and need for right sizing. Now, we already know that to select a candidate in any organization, interview is an important step. So, one of the assessment and evaluation techniques for a candidate is interview. It is one of the evaluation and assessment technique. Selection interview is the next process to conduct of test. So, interview is the next process. While initially some screening test has been conducted, after that the next process is usually interview. Or at times interview is taken as the first step to just generalize with the candidate. So, it can be taken in any step, but yes, selection interview is a part of the whole selection process. Even though written test and psychological tests are conducted, still one-to-one communication between individual always remains the crucial part in selection of a candidate. One-to-one, that is face-to-face interview, that is an important part in selecting a candidate. Now, why is it important? It's important because the behavioral traits, presence of mind, psychological bearing capacity, all those things can only be tested from interview when we are connected to a person one-to-one. With that only we can test these things and not on the basis of any written test. So that is why interview is an important evaluation technique for a candidate. Now let's see the role of interview in the selection procedure. Now interview plays a crucial role in the whole selection procedure. Now the first role that it plays is critical analysis of the personality of candidate. As the candidate is going to be in the front of the interviewer or a panel, face-to-face communication is facilitated. Now when the candidate is in the front of interviewer, the communication is face-to-face, direct one-to-one communication is conducted, and the interviewer can observe his behavior, his style, his approach, his promptness, his presence of mind, his sharpness, everything can be observed directly by the interviewer, which is not possible to just observe from those written tests. These all things can be only observed from one-to-one connect. So that is why it is a critical analysis of the personality of the candidates. Then accurate final selection. Interview facilitates to obtain additional information about the candidate through personal contact. Obviously, through personal contact we get to know additional information, that is the information which is already written in the CV or in the application form. We get to know much more than that via having a face-to-face interview, via having a face-to-face conversation. So after the whole detailed scrutiny of all the information about the candidate, the final selection can be made easily. Then providing details about the company to the candidate. Now, as the company would like to know the detailed information, just as the company wants to know about the candidate, same way candidate also wants to know about the work culture. Obviously, when you are you're going to join any organization, you would be very eager to know about the work culture, to know about the nature of job, about the work schedule, etc., which is there in the company or the organization. So, interview provides the opportunity to the candidate also to know more about the company. So that's also a role of interview in the selection procedure. Now let's see the various types of interviews that are conducted in the organizations. The types of interviews are, first one is formal interview. Now formal interview is held in a formal atmosphere with pre-decided and planned procedures and questions. That means everything is pre-decided. How to conduct the interview, the question that will be asked, they all are pre-decided in advance in a formal interview. Informal interview, there is no specific procedure, just opposite to the formal one. There is no specific procedure followed in this one, and they are conducted at any place. They can be conducted at any place, and any type of questions can be asked. That means a set of questions is not pre-formed, pre-decided, it's not there. They just ask randomly any sort of questions at any place at any time. So it is an informal interview. Stress interview. Now stress interview is often conducted so that we can evaluate the behavior of the candidate, that in case any stressful situation arises in the organization, how is he going to deal with it. So in order to get to know his conduct of behavior, in order to get to know what kind of behavior he will show at the time of any stressful situation, and stress interview is conducted. Now, how can a candidate react to stress? How can somebody react to stress? For example, whether they remain quiet or calm or become stressed can be judged by creating different stressful conditions. They can be given any situation or any condition and asked how you would react in there. And the case with which they get out of it and how the way they get out of it indicates their stress handling capacity in future. So the way the candidate answers to that question, that is how we get to know his stress handling capacity. Next is situation interview. Now in a situation interview, an imaginary situation is told to the candidate and they are asked to respond to it. Now in the stress interview also, it's kind of a situation, we are giving him a kind of situation only, but in the stress interview the situation is a stressful one, whereas in a situation interview it can be any kind of situation and he is asked to deal with that situation. Then directive interview. Now directive interview is a structured interview wherein a same set of questions is repeated for every candidate. A set of questions has been formed in advance, and those questions are repeatedly asked to every candidate so that they can compare amongst the answers received from them. Obviously every candidate will have a different insight to the questions, they will have different answers, so they compare the answers of all the candidates to have the comparison between the candidates. Then non-directive interview. Non-directive is a non-structured interview, unlike the directive one. There is no specific format, कोई format नहीं होता, and any sort of questions can be asked to the candidates. So it's no repetitive questions are there, any kind of candidates can be asked, and candidates are free to express themselves under this type of interview. They can freely express their views. Then panel interview. Now in a panel interview, a committee is set and appointed. That means a group of maybe 4-5 members, a selection committee is appointed for interviewing candidates, and that whole committee is called a panel. It might be a group of 2, it might be a group of 3 to 4 or 5, 6 people. It generally consists of 3 or more members who collectively perform the task of selection, and the final decision is taken with the consent of all panel members. Finally, which candidate has to be selected, that will be based on the decision of all the members of the panel and not on the basis of any one member's decision. The next is group interview. Now candidates are in the group interview, what is done is candidates are supposed to form groups, and one group altogether is interviewed at one time. It is a sort of group discussion also. So in a group interview, the person's ability to lead or to use their presence of mind and their communication skills, they all are evaluated in the case of group interview. Then depth interview. In the depth interview, all the minute details, छोटी से छोटी चीज़ भी of important nature are asked to a candidate, and to have, and why are they asked? So that they can have the extensive information about the candidate. In order to gather all the relevant information about the candidate, such kind of minute details are asked from him in the depth interview. So all these are the types of interview that are conducted in an organization. Next, we move on to placement and induction. Now first we'll see placement. Now placement may be defined as the determination of the job to which an accepted candidate is to be assigned and his assignment to that job. When a candidate has been selected, when he has been accepted, after that he has to be assigned a job. So the job that has to be determined, the job that has to be assigned to the candidate, that whole procedure comes under placement. So placement refers to the allocation of people to job. It includes initial assignment of new employee and promotion, transfer or demotion of present employees. It can be for new employees, it can be in the case of promotion, it can be even in the case of demotion of present employees. So it is a process of assigning a specific job. We assign one specific job to each of the selected candidates. It also involves assigning a specific rank and responsibility to an individual. One specific rank and a responsibility is assigned to each and every individual. And it is understood as assigning. Mainly placement is dealt as assigning jobs to the selected candidate. So that is in brief. What is placement? It is understood as assigning jobs to the selected candidates. Now let's see the significance of placement. Now what placement basically signifies is, what it basically does is, it improves employee morale. When you are placed in a job of your choice, in a job of your sector, obviously your morale is increased. It helps in reducing employee turnover. When you are happy with your job, when you are satisfied with your job, so obviously you are less likely to leave the organization. So it reduces employee turnover. It helps in reducing absenteeism. Again, almost similar thing. When the employee is happy working in the organization, when he has job satisfaction, obviously absenteeism will be reduced. It helps in reducing accident rates. Now accidents, when the employee knows about his job that he has to perform, when the employee knows what work has to be done, the chances of accident occurring in the organization or occurring in the firm gets reduced. It also avoids misfit between the candidate and the job. When proper placement has been done according to the skills and techniques which a candidate possess, on the basis of all that, when properly candidates have been placed, so candidate and job, the misfit between amongst them can be avoided. That is, a candidate is placed in a work which is suitable according to his skills, जो उसकी skills के according fit बैठता है. He is given the right fit job as per his knowledge and skills. Then it helps the candidate to work as per the predetermined objectives of the organization. Obviously, placement helps the candidate in working towards the organizational goals. Ultimately, every candidate is working for the organization. And why are they working? So that organizational goals can be met. Next is induction. Now when we talk about induction program is the process used within many businesses to welcome new employees to the company and prepare them for their new role. It helps in the effective integration of the employee into the organization. Whenever a new employee has joined, and whenever you join any new organization, let's say for an example, you have joined a new organization, from the first day itself you are not put to work. You are not told to go and work from the first day. First day is you are called for the induction. In induction, what is told to you is, you are given the knowledge about the work that you have to perform. You are told about your working areas. You are given the details about the organization. So it is basically a whole process wherein the new employees are welcomed and they are prepared for their new role, for their job that they have to perform. And induction training should, according to the TPI theory, include development of theoretical and practical skills. Now in the induction training, the theoretical and practical skills of the employees are developed, but also meet interaction needs that exist among the new employees. Interaction needs of new employees are also met. They are made little familiar with the people of the organization there, so that their need to interact, their need to communicate can also be met. Now, an induction program can also include the safety training delivered to contractors before they are permitted to enter a site or begin their work, whenever it is a manufacturing concern. So safety training is also given in the induction program only. and the process will cover the employer and employee rights and the terms and conditions of employment. In the induction program itself, they are told about their employer and employee rights, they are told about the conditions of employment. As a priority, the induction program must cover any legal and compliance requirements. Whatever any legal or compliance demands, whichever are there for the company, they all are covered under the induction program. And they are made focused towards the health and safety of the new employee. They are all even told that the company pays attention to the health and safety of the new employee. Every aspect is covered in the induction program. Then, now these programs also play a critical role under the socialization to the organization in terms of performance, attitude and organizational commitment. They play a critical role so that the organizations can be socialized, and socialized in what terms? In terms of performance. When you know about the work and you've been told every detail, obviously you're likely to perform well, you're likely to enhance your performance standards, you're likely to work towards the organizational commitment. Now there are certain objectives of induction. The objectives are introduction of the company of the newcomers. In induction, the main thing which is done is the company introduces the newcomers to the company, and the newcomers are also welcomed by the company. Secondly, to remove hesitation and shyness of newcomers. Why is induction conducted? So that the shyness and hesitation of the newcomers can be removed by effectively communicating with them on the day of induction. Then, to acquaint the newcomer about rules and regulation, it is conducted so that the newcomer or the new joinees, so that they are made aware about the rules and regulations of the company. Then, to remove fear and to develop confidence, it is again conducted so that the fear is removed from the employees and so that they develop confidence within them. To develop honesty, loyalty and a sense of belonging. Now induction is done so that when you communicate, when you get to know more about job, you feel happy that you have joined a good place, and you develop within yourself a sense of honesty, a sense of loyalty and a sense of belonging, that yes, I belong to this organization. So in order to develop these kind of feelings within the new joinees, induction is conducted. Then it's even conducted to gain image, behavior, response and attitude, to develop and maintain healthy relations with the new joinees, to rehabilitate into the changed surroundings. Obviously, when you join a new organization, your surroundings are changed. It might not be similar to the old one, so that you can accommodate yourself well in the new place. That is why induction program is conducted. To minimize the reality shock, you are told about rules and regulations well in advance, so that afterwards when you get to know, you don't get shocked with that. So to minimize all those things are told beforehand in the induction program. Now apart from this, induction program also cover the topics which they cover are, I'll just tell you in brief. There are some things which the induction programs cover, like they cover the work schedule, they cover training opportunities, they cover the objectives of the organization, they cover company's plans and facilities, they cover organization structure, employer responsibility, company responsibility. All those things, apart from the things mentioned over here, these are also covered in the induction program which is conducted for the employees. So that was all about training and induction. Our last topic for the unit is right sizing. Now right sizing, when we talk about, it is basically a process where the business it resizes itself if there are more employees and they are not required, so it just cuts short the number of employees, or if maybe there are less employees, more are required, then it hires more employees. So right sizing means restructuring the company. Let's see. Right sizing, it refers to the process in which a corporation or company restructures business by cutting cost, reducing workforce or reorganizing upper level management with a view to optimize profit. So in order to optimize your profits, the following things can be done. The corporation can be restructured. How? Maybe you are cutting the cost, अपनी cost को कम करके, maybe by reducing workforce, the people who are extra in the organization, if they are not needed, you can reduce. By reorganizing the upper level management, maybe the upper level management are not fit enough, they are not able to take decisions decisions properly, so you can reorganize the upper level management. So all these things are done, why? So that your profits are optimized. Now the aim of right sizing is to streamline the business so that it can make a profit more effectively. The main aim is to make profit more effectively. Technically, the term means adapting the company to market conditions. Main thing is the company should adapt the market conditions, which in theory could also mean increasing the workforce. Maybe it is likely to need that you require more people to work in some new programs that have started. So you might need new workforce, or maybe some programs have already ended in the company, so you might need to reduce the workforce. So that depends from situation to situation. But restructuring is required in the company in order to maintain its profits. Employing and maintaining exact number of employees with required skills, abilities and knowledge to perform the existing number of jobs in an organization, that all is a part of right sizing. I hope that's clear. Next is the need. Why is right sizing required in an organization? Let's see it. It's required to have exact number of employees as per the job analysis, job description and job specification exercise of the company. We've studied all this in the previous lectures, if you remember. The number of employees which are required according to job analysis, according to job specification, according to job description, so that we can have those exact number. That's why right sizing is needed. If there are more, we'll have to terminate them. If there are less, we'll have to hire new ones. Then secondly, to reduce dysfunctional activities of employees. If the employees are not functioning properly, to reduce such activities, right sizing is required. To minimize the cost of human resource and to increase the production cost by eliminating unnecessary cost. Now, so that you can reduce human resource cost and you can increase the production cost by removing the extra or unnecessary costs which are being incurred, right sizing is needed. Then, to reduce maintenance activities of various employee facilities and benefits like housing, canteen, transportation, medical and recreation. To reduce such activity, again right sizing is required. To maximize productivity by enhancing employee performance. You need to enhance the employee performance, then only the productivity can be maximized. And to enhance the performance, what is needed again? Right sizing is required. Last one, to avoid formation of trade union, so that trade unions do not form in the organization because they can hamper the productivity, and to avoid their consequences also, right sizing is required. You can jot down these points which are given over here. With this, our unit 2 comes to an end. Let's discuss some questions based on this topic which we studied today. Write a short note on placement. Explain the different types of interviews. What is induction? Explain its objectives. What is right sizing? Why we need right sizing in the organizations? You have to solve these questions. Stay tuned for the upcoming lectures of Unit 3. Thank you, children.